Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is John. I'm a full-time eBay reseller based in Melbourne, Australia. Today, you're in for a treat. Last week, I spent my time in the Gold Coast with a whole bunch of resellers, people from eBay, and people from various e-commerce vendors. I learned a lot. Also, while I was there, I took the opportunity to grab a couple of people who I really wanted to have a discussion with about what makes an item rare. And that's a big question because whenever someone gets into reselling, oftentimes they know they can sell things for profit, but it's the golden goose, that rare item that gives them real big profit, isn't it? But how do you verify? What framework do you run your thinking process through to arrive at your own conclusions? Conclusions that are reliable, that you can trust, so that you build your gut and get better at this thing called reselling. Between myself, Chris from CL Furlong, and Jason from All Years Chat, I think we have about 50 years of collecting and flipping experience between us. Without further ado, what makes an item rare and what makes them valuable? Enjoy. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is John. I'm a full-time eBay reseller based in Melbourne.
Chris, full-time eBay reseller based in Melbourne as well.
Chris, I'm Jason, tag along.
Also a seller and on the eBay seller panel?
eBay seller panel.
eBay seller panel.
eBay seller panel.
Yes. Chris,
For
what do you
2 years.
For 2 years.
Yeah.
Chris, what do you sell?
I sell everything, but I also, in the last 12 weeks, have started to do clothing, men's clothing more so, and I've actually moved up to number 7 in Australia. So it's, I could say I'm probably...
Number 7.
Yeah.
So where do you find that?
In the listing quality report tool. Yeah,
Okay.
that's the one.
I've got to learn from you. I don't look at any of the reports, mate. I look at the sales amount, the ASP, what I sell, what profit I'm making through my own, and I'm good to go.
No, well, that's I haven't usually looked at it before that, but then I'm like, okay, I'm doing it so much. I'm like, I should probably check. And I went from 9 to 7 in 2 weeks. But I got to,
Jesus.
I think I got to 7 in 12 weeks. So when you put in the work, it's worth it.
Do you monitor yours?
Not
Where
really.
you rank?
Not really. Every so often.
Okay, and what do you sell? Across how many stores?
6 stores. Baby clothes, toys.
How do you manage 6 stores?
You just log in and out, just have a feeling for it.
So, toys.
Toys, action figures, dolls, baby clothes. Across 6
What's
stores.
your best category?
Toys.
Are they rare?
Depends.
Okay.
We will talk about that. What do you sell?
I sell toys and collectibles, figurines, trading cards, a little bit of anything that's collectible. I've only been doing it for 18 years though. So just a little while.
Alright, so that's the introduction. The reason why you're here is because you've read the title, where we're going to talk about what makes something rare and why you should care as a reseller. And I think the reason why I really wanted to do this video was because whenever someone joins a reselling group, oftentimes it's because they're drawn to the rare things. They've discovered that a Lego set goes for $1,000. They've discovered that this pair of sneakers goes for $600. They've discovered that if I had a first edition Charizard card, like they talk about these things that we're like, ugh.
The golden nugget.
Yes. And so then I thought, why not just talk about rarity? What is rarity? Let's start there. When you think of something that's rare, what does that mean? And what gives it value?
To be honest, before we even get into that, I think it should be shared that I don't think anybody's perception of rare is going to be the same answer.
Mm-hmm.
I think
we all do different products, we all do different things, we know different things, we identify with product that we know what's rare, so we have inside knowledge and experience.
It's a good point, because if I was to answer it straight off the cuff, it would be like a BOLO, or be on the lookout for, right? And that's more from a thrifting scene kind of thing, right? Because you go into a shop, you want to look for that.
Sorry, do you thrift as well?
No.
Yeah. So for me, like when I originally started, I was sourcing from thrifting. So I'd be like looking for that BOLO item, or look out for that brand, or look out for this type of item.
What's BOLO?
Be on the lookout. But the reality of is you're not going to find a BOLO every time you thrift. You might find a different BOLO because you'll find something new and something different, and you look it up or comp it, look it up on the solds on eBay, and you'll say, oh, that's worth $100 and it's only $2. But it becomes it's rare because it's a BOLO and it usually sells quickly. But then you can move into categories and we have that whole conversation.
So you're referring to thrifting, which is going to be an interesting concept, and I'm taking it to a different angle just a little bit. You're talking about identifying a BOLO in the thrift store, right? But to me, the BOLO is not going to stand out in front of you half the time. The BOLO is going to come from the relationship with the people you have in those stores or the people that are selling stuff.
Or the research that you have, or the knowledge that you have, because you could walk past and not see it. I walk past and it's like, dude, that's worth $200. And you'll be like, oh, I've never even known that.
And that's where Jonathan's coming to with what's rare, what's that, and when they go into the Facebook groups and they post, this is rare, what's it worth, what's this, because they're getting excited because they perceive that it's rare.
Yep.
And what happens is they end up getting shot down in the Facebook group because everybody that's got the experience over and above with that product is
They don't think it's rare.
contradictory to what they're thinking it's going to be worth or whatnot. But some people also tall poppy seeds, right? We've got to be honest here too. Some people make a big bag.
Like they just get a bit jealous that someone found something that's actually
Oh,
worth
yeah.
something.
Yeah.
And
I've never been jealous of you with Thomas.
Oh, thanks. And to that,
You and some of the stuff that you find, mate, you're a hawk. Mate, you want to learn? You watch CL Furlong, you'll learn stuff left, right, and centre. Forget me and him. Oh, he'll teach you aspects that you'll need to know. He'll teach you some thrifting and eating chips better than anyone on the
On
planet.
the chip side, but that's the thing, right? So half the stuff, my background naturally, thrifting was for myself and finding stuff that I wanted before reselling, right? So I would go to the op shops and just like, might find something that I wanted for myself, or I would just look it up and know, that's worth $30, it's $1, I'll sell it one day. And then when
So you were building knowledge before you even wanted to sell.
Yeah. But I didn't know I wanted to sell. I just figured, I could sell it on the side and make some cash. And because I found it for $1, knowing it's worth $30, all of a sudden I feel like I've made $30. But now, once you started doing it to make an income, once I've started to do it to make an income, I realize it's like I have to now have understanding. So if I go into a shop now and I'm looking for the things that I think I know, and I don't find anything, it's like, well, if I'm leaving the shop empty-handed, have a waste of my time. So I'll then look for other things, and I'll pull out this random, look it up, find this shirt, look it up, or that looks interesting, it winks at me.
When you say look it up, do you mean solds?
Yeah, like on eBay.
Solds?
First look up if there's even something on eBay, or what does it mean, what's this item, and then see, okay, there's heaps listed, is it selling? How much is it sold for? Or vice versa. Sometimes you find none listed, but you might find 5 sold. That's probably when you're thinking.
But what if you find nothing? How excited are you when you find a product that you've sourced and you think you've identified with keyword search, right?
Correct.
And
you find nothing. Now, it could actually be either. It could be really, really good, or it's not worth your time.
Okay.
But I have to make that decision.
Have you got an example?
No,
don't mean to put you on the spot. Totally on the spot.
There probably has
never
been.
planned any of this.
There's been books. There's been books where, I've picked.
Carl.
Well,
yeah, Carla. What did she get? She picked
Carla picked up that. It was the bush tucker.
That's right.
She said it just, it stuck out to her. There wasn't really much on it. She didn't have any experience with it. She just likes, that looks cool. Now we looked it up, and it was worth $40 to $60.
And this is a good tip as well. When you're looking at things show us quality. You walk through a premises and you can look at a book sometimes, and the imagery within the book, or the binding, or the case, or the finish of the hardcover can sometimes stand out, or the glossiness of the paper, the thickness of the paper can sometimes give you.
Because that defines. It might be rarer because that is, like, for instance, folio books are usually a certain, their thickness, their certain color and a style, so they would stand out in a crowd. Therefore, it might mean it's from a certain era. Or I can tell what a vintage book is from just looking from the from the dust cover or lack of dust cover, because it's got that weird jacket on it. Whereas a new book, it's kind of shiny and looks too pretty to be 20 years old, right? But that's just from face value. You can't judge a book by its cover. Yeah.
Sorry, I took it off.
Keep talking. Just double check. Keep talking.
We're still recording?
Yeah, we're still recording. I'm just 100% making sure.
This is also the first time we're doing this kind of recording, so we're
They're
checking.
not going to see this. You're editing it.
Oh,
you edit it.
I don't want to edit it.
Well, you don't have to.
I'm single. I'm
sorry
single.
if you listen to this banter, but bad luck.
I'm single take. You guys know I'm single take, so this is staying single take on this channel, anyways.
Wish you told me that before the start.
Oh, this is staying a single take on the channel.
Bit late now. That's okay. We're all good.
Well, so I think one of the times when I was thinking about rare, I was like, I never liked people talking about rare items based on perception, because I've always liked to understand rarity. Here's an example. When I found out that Chris does Star Wars Lego, and I told him that I picked up a bunch of Lego with a Gungan sub in it, and he was like, "Oh, that's worth a lot of money." And I was like, "Yeah, I know, because it's the only set that has Queen Amidala in it," and that makes sense to me because it's a quantity thing.
But what's funny is I didn't know that's why it's worth a lot of money.
Oh, really? So
he just knew it was worth a lot of money. That's my point. like there are people who know that a set is rare.
You knew it because of the item was worth something.
Correct.
He knew because of the
Yes,
condition.
Because
of
I've
item,
sold the
way it
box,
was.
just the box, for $60.
Yep. and so when
Boxes freak me out, mate. I've sold sealed boxes of things that they just want the box. Sorry, product's worth nothing, but the box is worth more.
But the thing is, like before, and that's the thing, like the number of new resellers who jump on an item without that understanding frustrates me because I need that understanding before I double down and put effort into it. I'm not a thrifter. I think thrifting is inefficient. So therefore, someone like me, for me to get onto a product, I need to know exactly
because
why.
you source in bulk, don't you?
Yeah. So another example is I picked up a Lego set. I showed him it was like an Orient expedition when I'll put a screenshot of it. And I knew it was worth something because it had an elephant.
Oreo, you say?
The Orient expedition, but it's like it had an elephant with an articulated nose, and it was only ever in 2 sets. And so to me, when I think about rarity, I understand why it has value because there's also a very unique utility to the thing. It's not just distinguishing from manufacturer run rarity like Funko Pops and cards and all that
So
kind of
for me,
stuff.
rarity comes down to having a product that gets exhausted in the marketplace and it increases in demand based on the fact that people can't source it anyway.
Yep.
To me, that's rarity, and that's where I capitalise financially.
And that's deliberate on the manufacturer's part. The rest, when we're talking about Gungan Sub, we're talking about Orient Expedition, that's not deliberate. That just happens
It's
to
just
be.
a production line.
Yeah.
Right.
So just
It's like when you get error stuff. Mate.
But with the Gungan sub, or even the elephant one, like, it's exactly kind of what Jason just said though, because even though it might not have been planned that way, that's how it's worked out because it's the only one that has that piece.
Supply
or
and demand.
there's only 2 sets that now have that elephant. So now they know from that, there's like, oh, if we only ever release one of these in the future, or if they released one more with the elephant, would the others become more valuable because now there's a newer version of it, or would it make this one just as popular as this one? But back then they didn't necessarily know. So that in itself does make it rare. But it just wasn't planned rare. Whereas now, you've got Magic the Gathering, for instance. Dropping
Flooding the market.
Yeah.
Magic's just insane. It's stupid. Hasbro's killed it temporarily.
And so when thinking about what a new reseller can do as far as navigating the landscape of products, because the fact is, as resellers, we can sell anything, right? We can sell any category of anything. And so when thinking about do I pursue an item because I know that it's not likely to be re-released anymore, versus knowing that a manufacturer has a history of re-releasing, and how do I find that out? Because you guys do cards, figurines, like you know that the manufacturer has a trend. I do Hot Wheels, right? I see that trend all the time. I'll see a car get released that's a 1 out of 5,000, and then I'll see the same car get released as another 1 out of 5,000 in a different color. And so really, the car isn't rare anymore. It's only the fact that that color of car is rare. And so where once it was a rare car, it now becomes a rare car for a very small bunch of people who happen to like pink more than yellow.
Yeah.
And then it's not actually rare anymore, so to speak. And when a new reseller comes to the market, they go, this is rare, 1 out of 5,000. Yeah, but it's not really 1 out of 5,000 the way it was when it was only one release.
But are you saying you look for patterns when you buy?
Oh yeah, for sure.
So I do exactly the same.
Okay, how do you do that?
So you're telling 2 different sides of the equation. You're saying that new's not the same, cards is not the same. I do the same thing.
Okay.
I predict patterns. So my items will be released. It's a higher end, higher tier, higher hit rate. So a pack will have a good card in it. If I spend $300 on one pack, I know it's going to have a hit in it. Might not be the best hit, but it could be the best hit. So it's the unknown of what's within the packet that people are buying, not the actual card. It's that risk of the opportunity that they're going to get from spending it. But I'll see a certain release that's coming out, and I will jump on that release and buy multiple cases or multiple items I have access to hold that stock, knowing that once that's exhausted, it has the hits in it. It's got the Winter Soldier signatures, it's got Iron Man signatures, it's Tony Stark, it's got a whole array of different things. And I know people will demand and go for that, like in Marvel with Marvel trading cards, Marvel Avengers, WandaVision just got released, which was a big pick. It's got a few good hits in it. And I know that that's going to go up because it's going to be scarce. They will never re-release that. And if something is released as a first release, so if there's a new movie series coming out, like Wakanda or Black Panther, whatever you're looking at, if there's a new release of something coming out, like The Last of Us. If you're looking at Funko Pops from the game, they've gone through the roof because of it. It's just a continual cycle. You can predict within reason.
You tell me Stranger Things. Think season 1 of Stranger Things.
Stranger Things is huge.
Yeah.
I've got series 1 and 2 still sitting on the shelf that I haven't got listed. They just keep appreciating in value. But the identifying factor of rare is not necessarily rare. We all gamble on what we buy, so the term rare is irrelevant.
Yeah.
We're actually looking for what can be sold and maximize our revenue. And if it happens to be rare based on our history and knowledge of what we've built over years and layers upon layer of knowledge, which we all build up over time, we then deploy that into what we're buying.
So that's
and
almost, it's almost
risk.
like it's obviously gambling or taking a risk, or it's creating that opportunity, because you would probably have also stories where you've done that and it never actually came to
you dump it, you do cash sales. You generally make your money back, and I buy wholesale, so it's not always new, it's not repurposed.
Whereas, that's really interesting, because there's so many elements to it, because you're buying rare items off direct from wholesale, right? Whereas I'm trying to find rare items while out, on a lucky dip in a thrift.
Yeah, but you're paying $1 for an item. I'm paying $1,000 for an item.
Correct. But
sorry, I don't pay $1,000, but I'm giving an
but you've probably got a high chance ratio of, like, if I hold this for a year, I'm going to double my money. For me, I walk into an op shop, I find nothing. It's like, I've got nothing. Yeah. Whereas you might go buy a bundle of toys or something, and in that, there's like 2 really, really rare items or bolos that you could get all your money back plus double for the rest that you just purchased for. So then right there, we've got this stream of different branches of how this can all come to life. And then there's the whole element of what we don't know in terms of, someone just decides, someone dies. All of a sudden their thing goes up in value. It's now rare because they're never going to do anything like that again, and there was only one of them or whatever, but it's only now popular because that person died. So the person from Fringe and the new John Wick movie, I forget his name. Sorry. Anyway, he's out of it.
Chadwick?
Yeah,
no,
that was the other one, Black Panther. But he died literally just before the release of John Wick, and he's in a TV series, Fringe. Fringe sales on eBay
and trading cards as well.
Just going like crazy, and he's also in one of the Xbox games as well. So people have been going into there, spending money because they want to pay their respects to him.
And get people to do that though.
When Ken
Block
died, I sold all my Hot Wheels, all my hooligan stuff.
Yeah,
when Ken Block died, same day. Yeah, within 2 hours, all my hooligan stuff got sold.
And then you jump on eBay and look at what's selling after somebody's passed, like Olivia Newton-John and all that sort of stuff. And people actually get really upset with the capitalistic mega.
And they say, like, let's give it a week, guys. Like, come on. But then again, does that make it rare?
No, it's just reliving history and people wanting to have
exactly. But now after 6 months, it probably would be, because all of a sudden the market's been flooded, taken. So now if someone was to pull something out from their closet and think, oh wow, everyone's gone through that experience. Now if you find something new again, they're going to be like, that's rare now, because it's all just been taken away, the demands,
So I've got people to buy some of my products with people that know they're older, and they will buy items on the wait list for it.
Yeah.
Like knowing that people are near the end.
It's investment, it's business, but
I don't do that.
Yeah.
Didn't say you did.
Didn't say you said I did, but I don't do that.
So I think we've kind of given our thoughts on rare. What's your idea perspective of rare?
I started with a horn made out of an elephant's trunk is rare, but if no one wants it, it's got no value, right? So it's the whole, how often does it come by versus how often do people actually want it, and do those things meet? And I think eBay is a great platform where those things meet. Where when I was doing international sales, and I would sell a common toy to someone in the States where the toy came from, and they would say, I've been looking for this for a long time, and I'd go, but it's common. And then they say, you don't understand, when we're in the States, things turn over really quickly. I refresh Amazon, it's in stock. I refresh it, a few seconds later, it's out of stock. I refresh it, it's in stock, it's out of stock. And it's just, I can't buy it. I just cannot buy it. And so eventually, instead of paying $10 free ship because I'm a Prime member, I pay $10 plus $29 to get it from Australia because bucket is too high. And so there's a sense of like, that's rarity from that person's perception as well. And that's another thing I think a lot of new resellers don't appreciate, the geographical aspect of rarity, where the item could be a very common item where you are, but in Japan they can't get it. And I think you guys do international as well. So do you have any other stories? Do you have any stories of that experience?
Well, I've recently discovered something more jeans that there's a big population of people who collect jeans.
Oh, really?
Which is really weird, but each to their own. But there was another one that I stumbled upon, and this was in an op shop. Here's a good BOLO example, and it was they were called flathead jeans, and I picked them up. They looked really good quality, really early days. This is only probably like 6 weeks ago, and took them home. They were $5 all pairs of jeans on the rack, and I got 3 pairs of them, different collabs. They basically collab with other places around the world like Japan, Canada, and they create these limited run jeans. And there was like only 150 of them made, all numbered. And when they were released, there were like 600 of them released. This is back in like 2004. I went for this big, deep dive. Anyway, so I looked on eBay, couldn't really find much, being so old and so scarce. I found others sold for 250 USD. So I put mine up for 200, and someone made an offer of $150. Postage was however much they had to pay fees, and it went to Japan. And I'm just thinking, what? Right? So there's a good example, because locally in Australia, it's probably not really a big thing unless you've been in Japan, unless you've known about that brand or been in US and Canada. But then again, how did they end up in an op shop, literally 15 minutes from my house in a little small town 60k from Melbourne, right? And there was 3 pairs.
Jeez. Right?
So someone's obviously, I would assume deceased estate or something, and they've just dumped the jeans because they look in immaculate condition.
Wow. Hey, psst. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, very quickly, click the subscribe button. It will make me really happy. Like really happy.
So again, if I hadn't got international shipping on, I don't know if I would have ever sold them again, because the unique basis of that would have been 150 people, maybe 300 people that were actually interested in that. And there's a small niche market of that in forums from like 2010, 2005,
Insane.
Talking about it.
Insane.
But I would never know that if I didn't just quickly look them up and think, they look good quality, like they look different.
That's your education though. Yeah. You're looking for things and identifying
exactly.
Quality.
And if I hadn't been doing jeans, 5 weeks leading up to that, I wouldn't even look at that rack. Bizarre, but now it's like, now of course every time I go back to them thinking, am I going to find another pair?
You always want the next hit though. It's
exactly.
Like, it's a quick hit.
Exactly. But
forget the money.
But that's a prime example of it. 100% prime example.
So I do international, but mine's a little bit skewed. But as I was saying before, I buy based on the fact that items may become rare.
Yeah.
So because a lot of my cards are from the US,
when you say may become rare, what you're really saying is
exhausted in the marketplace.
Exhausted meaning that
scarcity.
They can no longer buy. In order to buy new,
they can't buy retail. They need to go to a second-hand market. They need to go to an on-selling platform.
Cool.
And a lot of the items I deal with are flipped, heavily bought and flipped. So people will buy with the opportunity to bury it and wait for it to come out and make more money.
Yep.
I wait for it. I price it and wait for the price to go up.
Yep.
Don't kill me, but I'll price to a point where I'm happy with, where I think the market's going to go, and I just wait for it to hit that. So the thing is I'll have a product that just runs out in the States very quickly. It's low quantity demand here, or low quantity released in Australia. Not heavily in demand here.
Yep.
Heavily in demand in the US. Sells out over there. People will source from me, and they'll pay 50 to 100% more than what the Australian market will, and I'm happy to sell overseas to send it back there because I get GST claim. I don't have to pay a remit GST, which I love. People just skip across it. Not tax advice. But it's just a different market, and the process in selling something expensive overseas I find so much easier, because at a higher level priced item, these people that are willing to pay that market price,
they're legit people, legit players.
Genuine questions,
feedback
that they love, things are packaged right and sent right. Thanks for looking after me. Thanks for
the
making
most
sure I left
beautiful
quickly.
feedback in their foreign language as well. It's like, oh, it's the best.
Oh, it's just insane. The more you do, the best.
Yeah.
And they come back. So a lot of my internationals are repeat buyers. And you look after them too. If they hit you up and go, mate, I had a guy buy something that I didn't want to sell. I double priced it. Just did not want to sell it, and he bought it full price because he wanted it. It was a trading card set. I had no interest in selling. Sends me a message and goes, thanks, got it, great. I go, mate, just send me a message next time. I'll look after you with whatever I can. I go, I'm not promising you anything. I'm not going to give you anything stupid and drop my pants. But if I can look after you, I really appreciate the way you conducted yourself, and I'll do whatever I can to help you. No drama in the world. Come back to me. And on eBay still. But yeah, international's awesome. I just find they respect the purchase a lot more than a lot of the domestic people do, because a lot of the Aussie buyers at the higher end, and I'm not having a go at the Aussie buyers because it's obviously just the way that we're trained to purchase online and conditioned.
Aussie buyers don't jump. They don't jump on listings the way Americans do.
No, but they're unwilling to pay.
Yeah.
We will get more. Can you do it for this price than what an American will do? Yeah. So we'll get somebody saying, "I'll have an item for $500. It's worth $550," or I might price it 10% above market, and they'll come to me going, "Can you do it for $400? Can you give me free postage?" And you go back on, "Mate, the market price is not that. I'd love to help you, and I can't give you free postage because I pay Australia Post."
But I also think there's a mass of people that appreciate what it is they're collecting or looking for. So a good example is that too. So for instance, I had there's a video game called Portal 2, and way back when the Portal 2 came out. And I didn't know this at the time, but I was a big fan of the game, and I got the special edition, pre-ordered or whatever. You got a Rubik's Cube, la-da-da-da. Now, when I started reselling during COVID, I started to look through my shelves and stuff to see what stuff, what don't I want, what don't I look at anymore. Didn't even realize I had it, still in box. Wasn't sealed, but it was still in box. The Rubik's Cube hadn't been removed. And it turns out it was a numbered release, right? And there was nothing on eBay, there was nothing, right? And this comes back to the original question, is like, have I sold something before that I didn't know about? And so I had to go digging in forums, I had to go looking on history, and eventually I found what other people had been selling it for like 5 years ago, so I put it up like for $350, right? And within a couple of days, I got a thing that was like, would you take $300? Because I'm going to pay shipping to Canada. And he said, I've been looking for this everywhere, and I'm like, please.
And polite.
Yeah.
If they're polite, don't you want to help them?
Oh, of course. Because I'm thinking, what is the chances? I have no history of anything else selling. What's the chances of someone else coming along and offering me $300?
Lesson learned. Don't back away from the first offer. A lot of people scoff and go, "That's not it. I've got it for more."
Yeah.
If you've covered your costs and you're happy in the sell price and it's covering your margins and you're comfortable,
everyone look at the
take the offer. Take the offer. Don't walk away from offers that are good, because if that buyer's a good buyer and you look after them, those repeat customers.
Come back.
Yeah,
and
you're going to get
to the
another
point. You've heard these guys say research. Go to forums, go to Reddits, go to YouTube. Just troll and dig. Like I remember picking up a bulk load of toys. So I sell Pixar cars, right? Those cars with the face of Lightning McQueen and all them. And I remember I had this. What I'll do is I'll grab a tub and I will grab the ones that I want, the ones that I know that have value, and I'll list them. And I'll just generally combine my tubs until eventually, when I've got time, I'll just start working through them. There was a little like Honda Civic Japanese fan, like when in Cars 2 there's like the international races, like Japan and Spain and all that. And I was just like, I don't know this character, I'm just guessing it's a random car. And then I started Googling, right? The only image I could find of this character was him in the back. So you know those like box sets with the plastic in the front? And they've got like a staggered display. So there's like 4 cars in the front, 4 in the back.
They got like a little step.
Yeah, and it's like, it was just in the back corner and it's like in the shadows. And then I was like, oh, that's the Japanese fan. Found his name. So you obscure picture, found the name, put it back into Terapeak. They just did the 2-year sales thing, so we actually had the 2-year sales data. Only one ever sold, $99. Put it up for $99, went straight to the States, asking price. I'm like,
should have sold it for more.
How many regrets have you had? I listed a box of trading cards that I got at a good price, and mate, sold it straight away. I looked at it like overnight, it sold. I looked at it and I go, my God, I just did myself $400.
Didn't wear a t-shirt in my video.
We all make mistakes.
It comes out this Wednesday, and I found a single stitch Rip Curl polo shirt from the 90s. Really amazing tags. And I knew Rip Curl, vintage clothing does really well just because in Australia. And I saw it, couldn't find anything on it, so I'm like, I put it up for $30. It was a size medium. And I had auto accept at 25 plus postage, because really, I paid like $4 for it, so it's not the end of the world. But it sold instantly, right? And it's like
$49.95 at least.
Should I have?
Stop telling him now.
Yeah, exactly right. Now I've sold
$48.88.
But the reason why I did that is because I had a single stitch small normal shirt, but it had a big graphic, and I got 50 for that one. This was not like that, and it had just buttons and it had really small, so I'm thinking it's medium, I'll go a little lower. But then again, to your point, I've made my money, all that jazz, but it's like thinking, should I have gone higher, because you can't find anything else on it.
So naive in clothes question.
Yeah.
Does size make a difference to price?
Yes.
You mean due to the fact that a bigger size sells more and there's more accommodating for the majority?
The best one is usually large and extra large.
Yeah, okay. So you're saying most of your stuff's worn. People don't collect it, they wear it.
Well, that I would love the answer to that question.
Because I'm always curious. I'd buy,
if you
I'd buy
know-
something and I'd collect it. I wouldn't wear it. I wouldn't care if the size was.
Well, maybe for that, for $30 shirt, like for me personally, like if I spent, like I think the most expensive shirt I've sold is $150. Now I'm thinking, if I spent $150 on a shirt, I personally, I wouldn't want to wear it because it's like I've just spent $150 on it. But I've had conversations with like my supplier and other people where people will spend $300, $400 for a shirt to flex it, to wear it, you know.
Yeah,
to
but
own
it's
it.
like kicks. People wear $1,000 shoes.
Exactly.
So these are $280.
Yeah.
They were my favorite.
I can't afford that.
They were my favorite sneaker when I was in year 12, and then the price kept going up to 300, 400 resale market, and then to the point of being rare, right? Because this was LeBron's Olympic color when he played his first Olympics, and then they reissued it just in time for last Christmas.
So should I buy some kicks? Because I met the guy yesterday from Sydney that does kicks.
but like,
so we can go and buy some good shoes.
I wear shoes, right?
Yeah.
Like I've never kept shoes in boxes, never. But I've always bought shoes at a good enough price that I can always sell them again and get my money back.
Yeah, but
it wouldn't be a way to make a living.
Yeah.
Because I'm not that kind of person. And to that point, if you're not the kind of person to sell the stuff that you're wanting to wear, I guess don't get into that category. You're just not going to make any money. You're just going to end up being an expensive shopper.
But because like there's things that I'll buy.
Just enjoy wearing it.
Yeah, there's things that I will buy to sit on a shelf to make my lifestyle feel good. Flex, and like I've done it with Lego. Like,
I do it with toys.
Exactly. Like I've got anyone watching my YouTube, when I talk, you can see my back wall, all the things that I've collected. Now
your running medals.
They're things that I enjoy or are part of my childhood and nostalgia hits, right? But you know, I've got Game Boys, I've got Pokemon games and stuff. I'm not playing them. Now, in the long run, I know they're going to go up in value. So it's only going to do better for me if I ever have to liquidate because they'll be worth more. But they also make me feel good because the chances of me finding that, again, at a really cheap price is really, really low. So it works in both ways. But again, like, you know, if I went out and spent $500 on shoes, I mean, I'll spend $250 on running shoes because I need good shoes to go running in because I'm doing multiple miles, right? It's like if you're sleeping on a bed, you don't want to spend $10 on your bed because you're going to get stuff back pretty quick. You'd be happy to splash a bit of cash because you want to be looking after yourself. It makes sense. But, you know, to splash, I'm, you know, kind of a bit of an oxymoron here. Here I've spent $1,000 on Pokemon games and Game Boy Advance all at once to have them sit on a shelf. But I have enough confidence to know that I'm comfortable with that because I'm never going to find it again. And 5 years' time, they're probably going to be worth a lot more than that anyway.
It sort of brings me to a question. So when you're doing your pick, obviously turn and stock turn is important to you in the resale side, and it's quick flips are good for you. It keeps your cash flow flowing, which is your paradigm is cash flow. Do you hold a percentage of your pick sometimes for a rainy day? Do you do any of that? I do that significantly in the wholesale side of things. But I'm curious if you do as a reseller.
There's been times where I've done it by accident because I've been lazy and I haven't like gone for like I've picked out the stuff that I think I know that, so I'm going to sell that now. And then the other stuff is like, I'll get to that later. And I've actually come back and then done the extra 20 minutes of research and realised this thing's worth a lot.
So cover your cost on the things you identify as worth it and cover your pick cost, and then the rest you're just happy to drain through?
Correct. And I think I've got more comfortable with that as I've progressed. Like now doing clothing, I've started to realise that, because clothing's not all exactly the same. You're going to have multiple sizes, different styles and colours and patterns. So I have to realise I know these ones, they're going to be like the ones that will get me $40 a piece. These ones, I might have to be happy to sell at $20, right? And then you might have a really rare shirt in there which has a nice graphic on or something on it. And I know, well, I'll probably get $200 for that or something, right? So, but in terms of holding, I've probably done that more with Lego. I've picked up a whole bunch of sets and knowing that I'm happy to sit on this for the next 2 years. I'll drop $500 and buy 5 or something, and then I'll start to liquidate them through Christmas or something because I know in 2 years there's going to be a bit more of demand or that series ends or whatever it may be. But it's harder for me to do that in certain elements because if I'm thrifting, I don't actually know what I'm going out to source. So like I can't really have any expectations like I'm going to go out and source.
Plan, just opportunity.
It's like whatever I find, right?
Okay.
But if I find like, for instance, a bunch of I'll just use Pokemon for example. I'll probably keep it myself, but if I did, and I would want to sell it as quick as possible because I want to get that cash flow back. Because if I found a card and I spent $200 and I know it can generate $2,000, I'd rather take the 2,000 today.
Did you end up getting Blaziken?
No, I haven't. No. So I've spent.
Chilling, isn't it?
Yeah, I spent a lot of money on.
Cases still,
Let's
do a deal. I'm ready to flip them.
Yeah, but what's funny with that? So context. I've been chasing a certain Pokemon card. I've probably spent. I probably have done $1,500 to $2,000 chasing that card in individual packs. But I could go buy the card for $400. Like I could just buy it off the market. But the principle for me is like. I don't want to.
I've got a funny one, mate.
I can't pay $400 for one card, but I spent $1,500 chasing it.
So I was on one of Chris's lives one night. Did you remember this one? I was telling you about the evolving skies.
I don't go.
Oh, okay. So a customer bought a set of evolving skies ETBs, both colours.
Yeah.
Right, and we're talking $120 a box because you're getting scarce. I've still got a couple of cases left, but they're scarce, right? And the guys messaged me on eBay going, mate, the pool was shit. I didn't get this, I didn't get that. I should have got this, I should have got that. I go, mate, that's a manufacturing issue. It's got nothing to do with me. And I go, I think you're expecting too much. Yeah. He goes, yeah, but the other case I opened, the other box I opened, I got this, I got two of these and this. Mate, they're random packs. The ETBs do not guarantee anything at all. He goes, yeah, but the code cards were wrong. They were black, they were white, they didn't have the right thing. I go, look, I really appreciate what you're saying. I go, mate, I've got the box that it came from. I go, I've got another case. Let me go and crack that same case and open it, and I'll open an ETB and I'll send you the pictures of the cards. I'll check what's in it, make sure they're clean. It's not like a production run, it's not an issue, it's not this. I crack the 10 packs come in it, so 10 packs come in an ETB, an Elite Trainer box. I crack it.
For those of you who don't know, we're talking Pokemon cards and we're talking like the boxes that those booster packs come in and he's opening them.
So I'm just opening them. So I open one of the ETBs, I crack it, open the 10 cards, flick through. Shit! The best card from Evolving Skies sold it for $1,200 the next day, and this guy's complaining that he got another. I wanted to keep on enough stuff listed high, wait for the person to come along. Somebody in Canada, another international star, $1,200 buys it on the spot, like overnight. No questions, no nothing, just click. Going for $1,000 in the US, just bought it. And I rang the guy that said there was shit cards in it, and I basically gone, mate, I'm not telling you what I pulled, but you can't be more wrong. And that was it.
That's it.
Best story I've ever had. Just trying to prove a point to a customer that was alright, and I pulled the best card and made a shitload of money from it.
I was saying to Chris,
I told you, didn't I?
but that's the thing with rarity. Like I was saying to Chris that I don't do retail arbitrage at all. Retail arbitrage just means you go into a shop, you buy something at retail or clearance, and then you sell it back on eBay because someone else somewhere can't get it at retail, so they'll pay more on eBay to get it to where they are. And I was buying Hot Wheels brand new for a while, and then you get a little bit of a premium, but then I gave up. And then we happened to go to Mansfield, and there's like a K-Hub. K-Hub is like Kmart but for like rural, so it's smaller. It's like if you're thinking the toy section is 9 aisles long, and K-Hub is like half an aisle. And they happen to have these Auto World diecast cards. And Kmart at that point didn't even stock them anymore. Like it was not available online. It says if it's in the store, you can pick one up. If not, then whatever, right? And the first one that was literally in front of me as I walk in was a completely silver with white wheels, like a ZL1 Camaro. And I was like, I've never seen this color before. I start Googling it, I'm like, I recognize the white wheels, but I didn't realize that the silver was unpainted, and therefore it's what they call ultra raw. And ultra raw literally is 1 out of 8.
Aluminium.
Yeah, 1 out of 8 in the whole world. And so I was like, what do I price it at? But I had to go digging. I had to do the whole Reddit thing. I had to go through a whole bunch of different Facebook posts to try and I joined a couple of Auto World groups to figure out because even then when they do in the Auto World groups, they'll say, here are the releases for the cars for this quarter, and they'll go, we've got a picture for all the colors that are coming out. We've got a picture for the Ultra Reds, which is like 1 out of, I can't remember, 1 out of 200 maybe, 1 out of 500, and then Ultra Raw, no photos. So you didn't even know what Ultra Raws looked like.
Yeah.
And eventually I found a random photo of an Ultra Raw, and I was like, right, so that's what Ultra Raws look like, and I've got one. But what do I put it up for? There's no numbers on it because depending on the model of the car, it was a random pickup truck. It was $200. It was like a Toyota Supra went for like a couple of $1,000. So like a 99995 best offer.
Yeah.
And they ended up selling for $850 plus shipping back to the States to a guy who had every single color, every single of that car because he was just a Camaro guy. And I suppose in that situation, right, it's so many things coming together
Yeah.
to make the rare sale happen. It's a guy who knows it's 1 out of 8 and he wants to jump on it.
Yeah.
It's me being lucky to pick something up because I had an inkling. It's not a manufactured outcome. And I think to some extent, when a new reseller comes to the picture, I sense that they believe they can manufacture this outcome. And I get it that with Pokemon cards, to some extent, if you buy the crate, there's a certain chance to pull. But it's not a sure thing. To Jason's point, it's not a sure thing. And I remember when I unboxed NBA cards, I got sick of the process. I bought 2 crates. I got sick of the process by halfway through. I was like, screw it, I'm not even going to look for errors anymore because I can't be bothered. My eyes were glazing over and I didn't want to touch the cards anymore. And then I just threw them all over. I just put them nicely away in nice little boxes because I knew keep them nice. And then,
just not sponsored.
No, still talking. And then this, and then this year, I happened to pull the boxes out, and I was like, oh, that was Luka Doncic and Trae Young's rookie year.
We've spoken about trading cards with you before, basketball, haven't we?
Yeah, that was the year that I unboxed. Completely forgot about it because I hated the process of unboxing things and unsheathing all the different packs so much.
Yeah.
And so, yes, now I'm sitting on about 50 Luka Doncic rookie cards, about 20 Trae Young rookie cards that we're going to say could get graded.
Yeah.
But was it a manufactured process? No.
No, it wasn't.
And so, yeah. So can you guys comment on that? Like when a new reseller comes to the market, thinking, yeah, I'm going to be that next guy to.
Well, trading cards is heavily done with that because since COVID, people are just buying sealed product and holding. And it's ruined the resale price. Like you can't even get an RRP price for an item at the moment with certain products. Like it's just insane.
But I think, again, to your point, to manufacture that position, so like unless you know the domain, like Pokemon cards, and we take that out of the picture because it's a bit of a special consideration. There's other consideration of, we think about action figures. Action figures are quite similar, there's certain styles, or there was those, I forget what they were like kids' toys and you could squish them, Jojitsus or something. And there was a whole bunch of them, but there was only, like for instance, every Kmart would only get one of one type and all the others were normal. So it wasn't necessarily rare, but there was only less of them. So they would go for $60 resale when you could buy them for $20 off the shelf. So most people, when they release, would go and buy all of those, go to 5 different Kmarts, and then sell them online, and they'll make the $40 in between.
Your retail price.
So you can create the opportunity, but I think what you're better off doing is actually investing the time of you going out thinking you're going to find something. So invest 2, 3, 4 hours and of something that of interest or you're curious about, and learn the heck out of it.
Always better off doing something know though. Like your passion and success creates the demand and the opportunity for what you see in the marketplace.
But like, for instance, with the clothing, for me, like I had never sold shirts before. I think I'd sold one Ralph Lauren before because I'd found it and I'd seen someone else had sold it on a video. So I was like, I saw it in the op shop, but this is worth $45. It's only $12 or something.
But you've made it's consciously conscious to make a decision to go down that path. And as a result, you've educated yourself.
Well, that's right. But as I've progressed, I've started to realize it's like, if I want to scale, I cannot find enough products that I can rely on in the thrift unless I start to narrow my understanding on something. Now, books, if I could go into an op shop and say, look, I'll give you 10 cents for every single book, but I have to take them all, kind of thing, right? Then that's a great way to learn because a really low cost and you're going to learn. And that's how I've purchased 500 books from an op shop before, and I've paid $500. I took a gamble and I made some really good money, right? But, not everyone's starting off. I'm not saying go spend $500, right? Because it's a bit risky. But if you go sit and spend 5 hours and go through the top selling books, how much they're worth, what sell on a regular basis, or who's the most popular author, now next time when you're looking through the books, you can start to see, I know that one. I just read about it. These are all worth $30. You're going to put $1 each and now you've made $90, right? So by doing that research, and I know because I've only been doing clothing for 12 weeks, and I'm thinking, why didn't I do this like 2 years ago?
Because you weren't ready.
I wasn't ready.
You've got to be ready to make the next step. I wasn't ready to make the next step.
I wasn't interested and I wasn't curious about it. And that's why I'm saying don't necessarily go do clothing. Do something that sparks some interest or that you enjoy. Like if you enjoy selling toys, do toys is a big domain.
So what I'm hearing is you're saying don't go shotgunning process.
Yeah.
Actually tailor what you're trying to achieve.
If I could start again with the knowledge that I knew now, right? Because then you will create the opportunity for rare. And that was my point, because you're able to find the rare stuff really, really quickly. I learned this just recently. So now doing the clothing, I found...
find or identify?
Well, it's like if you go buy a yellow car and you own that car, you will see it everywhere afterwards.
There's a psychological word for it. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, there is. And it's the same thing now that I know about it. All of a sudden, I know that, right? And so I found a Ralph Lauren polo, just one of your standard polos, a couple of buttons, had some cool emblems and stripes and stuff on it, and I'm like, that's unique. I'll get it. It's $4, whatever. Now
you never wear it, but you bought it.
No. I got it.
It was only $4. He doesn't wear it.
This is only like a couple of weeks ago, and I knew that there's a huge, big following and chase after that. Now I put it up based on what I thought was the right keyword and stuff. Had it sitting for 45, thinking I think this is worth 45. Someone came in, lowballed me 15 plus postage. I basically just agreed, said, look, dude, you give me 24 with postage. That's the lowest I go. You can have it.
Shit.
He did it, right? I didn't care. I made my money, all happy. I go through the guy's account. He's selling polos at 80, 90, say to the reseller, right? Now, he probably knows exactly what it is, right? And he knows that I've done it wrong, which it's fair game, right? Because I haven't done the research. But I'm going to make my, $15 profit or $12 profit, and he'll probably go make his $30 profit. But at the end of the day, we're all happy.
Jason, speak freely.
I've got a very side comment that touches on what you're doing. It's one of my pet peeves and a passion and everything else in between. Selling collectibles, I get a lot of messages saying, can you do it at this price, especially from the Aussie buyers. Just a word of advice, it's not hard to set up a second account to buy from a second account. There is nothing worse than somebody pitching a price of a product and wanting it at a discounted rate, and you look at them selling exactly the same product at double the price. The seller's not going to sell it to you at the price you're asking. Try and bolster your option of getting, try and bolster the opportunity of getting that product at the price you want, and send it from a totally separate account. Just a side comment. Sorry, I had one yesterday.
Because I
got a guy that's selling a $1,000 trading card box. I can show you on the phone. $1,000 trading card box. He's got it for best offer. I got it listed at $700, which is still a high price. And messaged me, can you go and do it cheaper? No. Didn't give him a reason why. Just no, it's fair market price. I should actually put the price up. Another tip. Tell him you should be putting the price up. Came back overnight, bought it. Please package well. No worries. Just use a different account.
But it comes back to so many different points here. It's like, so that I now know that I had probably a better item than I realized, but I hadn't done the research, but I had done enough research to know that I know I can make money from this. Mm-hmm. But it just goes to show, if you spend the additional knowledge time, like to accumulate the knowledge, you can now turn a $24 item, plus he paid postage. So he spent $30 basically, right? And he's going to still go make a nice profit out of it.
Did you follow how much he sold it for?
No, well, this was only in the last couple of weeks, so I haven't, I haven't seen it since. But who knows? Maybe he has a direct buyer that he can go sell it to, or a collector. He might even be a collector for it, right? But I just found it funny that he obviously knows what he's doing, and I think we need to be okay with that, because again, cash flow. Like, I come to that point. It's a bit different if I had paid $40 for it, thinking I can get 80, and he's offering me 24. But because I paid $4 for it, it's like, that return on investment's quick, easy, done and dusted.
And so where we land. How are we doing for time, by the way?
Nearing 4.
Cool. So I think in summary, is it a good time to do a bit of a summary?
Yes.
All right. If you're a new reseller, or if you're starting out and you get excited, right? You watch videos of people sourcing gold nuggets. It is normal for you to feel like that's what you should be chasing, because that is the intention of the video that you are watching.
Yes.
But as you can see, for us, like we don't make a living off these golden nuggets. Like it's as nice to have for us as it is for you. It comes down to fundamentally doing all this research and actually understanding the categories, so that you have a baseline understanding of what things are worth, and understanding the volume of demand that you get for that category. Then the gold nugget really starts to stick out, and then you start to see it. And then when you can find all these items regularly, from the bread and butter all the way to the rare stuff comes quite regularly as well. You'd be surprised how much rare stuff you'd find. And can I say that's a fair comment?
Yeah. Because you create the opportunity, you create the ability to identify and to find. And because again, Pokemon's a little different, because you're selling to people that are probably basing it off, oh yeah, it's a hit rate, kind of thing. So they're gambling themselves, right? Thinking if I spend $1,000, I might get the $1,500 cut.
And they get nothing.
Yeah, and they get nothing, right? So, but for us, we actually have a better opportunity.
Should have laughed. It's not funny.
I know. I've been there, but like, so like, once you educate yourself, now, as you said, all of a sudden you can now start to find, the yellow car all the time. So it's like the best thing that you can do for yourself, right? And rather than, like, I've got people asking me to, and no offense to the person, because if you are hearing this, they ask me, like, can you show me the books, like the detailed of the version of the books that you're selling? And I said, well, look, I can. I'm not going to, because I don't really want to spend much time.
That's gold that you've spent years developing.
Well, yes and no. That's not really my point. The point is like the actual chances of you now finding that book again, like, is so low, right? And because it's probably a book that I didn't even know I was looking for. I've just seen it, looked it up on this phone, like, oh, that's a lot. But it was only a $30 set, right? And I picked it up for a couple of dollars, so I've sold it. But, it wasn't anything BOLO. It wasn't a $300 book set. And I think that's what we need to be mindful of, is like, a lot of the time, I'm the blind leading the blind. I'll find stuff.
I think that's a great point. So something I take from that specifically is something that probably we haven't articulated. Even before we started this, we didn't articulate it. For me personally, everything I've learned.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody held my hand. Nobody taught me. I've had to go and use and draw on resources to develop my own skill. But I've been developing them for 35 years. So we're not talking overnight. I ordered my first lot of boxes from overseas via fax. Right? Don't laugh. So I ordered by fax, but that's knowledge I've been building on for 30 years. And what you're saying is it's knowledge you've built, And I think that's one of the things I struggle with. Like, I'm in the Facebook group, I moderate the Resellers one, right? So I don't mean to plug it, so I apologise. But
not plug it.
People will talk about something they find, seek knowledge, which is something we were alluding to, seek knowledge to get an understanding of how they find the supplier or the nugget product. But that's such a shielded process, because sometimes we don't even know how to answer it, because we've just got that, like I was saying before, we've got a layer upon layer upon layer of knowledge that just is ingrained in us over time, that we've invested our own personal time to build on. And so do you guys build on that knowledge. Some of the people I speak to in the groups, my gosh, some of the fashion gurus, some of the parts gurus, some of the beauty gurus, mate, I listen to the way they talk and I fall off my chair half the time. And I don't know how I can contribute to the conversation and help them, because they know so much. Yeah. Which is why it's tailored around the operational component, which is why I love your stuff. Yeah. It's operational and cash flow stuff, and you do similar with how to bolster the business on eBay. It's the knowledge is separate to the process, and the knowledge is almost intellectual property that we've developed over time, and it's really hard to pick our brains to get that. We can do our best to share it and give them the positive kudos on how to move in the right direction, but we can't take them to the water to drink that water.
No. And that was my point, because, like, yes, it's a book set, $30, whether they can find it again or not. The point is like, I probably didn't even know about the book set 4 weeks or 5 weeks or 90 days before I sold it. Yeah. I've just gone in there and like, oh, I've done the research on the spot. I'm like, that's good. Now there's other ones which I know I can walk in and I can pick up and I can flip for $30 any day kind of thing. And that's my knowledge, and I can now walk in and save that time. But my point is more so, it's like, if you just spend the same time that you, don't watch my video, go do the research on what are the top selling books in the last 90 days. Video. And you will then have more knowledge than my video of what books, because it's not about what books I'm selling. It's about what books can you sell, right?
It's like riding a bike. You're not going to learn it by watching someone.
So this video, you'll notice a lot of sourcing videos go a bit like this. I found this thing, it was really cool. Ooh, sells for this much. A string of 3 of them, there's a pattern, right? 3 nice things. You could find this too and make a living. That's not what we're talking about. We're here to kind of essentially debunk that, right? It doesn't, like, I move about 1,000 items every single month, sometimes 2,000 if it's a really busy month. You move, I think, several hundred a month.
Items, I'm about 300.
You're around.
I do between 100 and 150.
But yours are higher value.
My ASPs are 200.
There you go.
On average.
So it's like, they're not like, I don't do 1,000 like woo items. It's like maybe 100 of them are woo items, and then the other 900 just like normal items from that category. And that's the thing, like we're not gonna tell you how to get items, because if you want to eat Japanese food, you know how to find it. If you wanna pump premium fuel, you know where to find it. If you want to go on holiday somewhere and do a particular activity, you know how to find it. Give yourself credit as a human being wanting to start a business as a reseller to go find the thing. Chase something in that category and eventually you'll find more and more and more variants to that thing that you're chasing, and then the gold nuggets will start to come into that mix, and then before you know it, you have essentially the knowledge that we've got, and you'll be that person when you see that post of, hey guys, is this rare? How do I get it? You'll be like, no, I'm not telling you that, because you understand there's actually a real process, a very defensible process to get there.
It is. It's spot on, but it's also, you need to open yourself up to the opportunity. So a lot of people stay closed to the opportunity, so they'll stick to their guns on a certain product or a belief or a process, and they struggle to go outside of that process and open up that opportunity of what they see. You walk through the thrift. I don't resell, as I said. You can walk through a thrift shop and you could walk in the first 5 meters, go and walk out. But if you walk 7 meters, you might find that $400 pair of jeans. You might find that. It's opening yourself up to the opportunity and not prejudging the negative component of what you feel may be happening. Just go for it. Go in there. Do it. Jump into the opportunities you may present yourself with or be in front of. The last few years we were saying beforehand, I've become a bit more philosophical, think a bit more about what can be done and what can't be done, and look after people, help people.
Yeah, that's it. That's what we're trying to do.
And on a parting note, we understand why you want the rare item. We get it. It appears to sell quickly for a high amount of money and not a lot of effort. We get it. And when you're starting out, you want money to come through the door. You do. It's enticing. But what we're talking about is really about building the knowledge that feeds you every day. You know, if you want this side hustle to be a dependable thing that you can transition from the job that you hate to something that you do on your own time, if you want it to be something that you can do retired, something you can do with the kids at home, for it to be that, you have to let go of that, I must find the rare item, you know, that FOMO, you know, that fear of missing out. It's just learn the category as you would anything else. And you'll get there with persistence and patience, isn't it?
That's it.
You'll build a long-term sustainable business, which is the whole process of what we want to do in our core functions. Not a spiked opportunity where you'll do $100 a year, 20 cents a year, $50 a year, 20 cents a year. You want consistency in your selling platform and your cash flow that you talk about, and just keep it going. Nobody gets rich quick. And that's what the premise could be similar to it. Like, if you're liking it to people wanting to get financially rich quick, it's a similar process to getting that BOLO, getting the high expensive turn. Be grateful when you find it. Be grateful when the opportunity presents itself and you get that one item, but never disrespect your core component of your business.
That's it.
Never. And the people you get to know along the way. I value these guys, so it's good.
Appreciate you.
Likewise. Chris,
Jason.
Pleasure.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for listening. So as you can see, there are many ways to go about this topic of rare. Isn't it funny that even at the start of that discussion, we were very quick to go, wait. Let's just define what rare actually means. From between actual rarity to perceived rarity, I hope this chat has been a great resource for you to refer to as you find items that you will actually think about what actually makes it rare in the first place, what makes it desirable in the first place. This is a chat that I'll be referring to regularly because I believe that the principles that we covered in that video are not gonna age. In 5 years' time, it'll still be relevant. In 20 years' time, it'll still be relevant. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about the video. Let me know what you thought about this format. Would you like to see more of this format? Let me know if there were aspects that we didn't cover, because once again, as resellers, we can sell anything. And so maybe you sell something that we've never even talked about that you'd like to add to the discussion. Do so in the comments below. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. And also click the bell notification so that you are notified of whenever we have a new video. Take care. Happy reselling. Bye.